Hey everybody, just wanted to do a quick development update. There's been a lot of things that have happened since the last update. So if you remember from the last video, I told you that there was a lead, a piece of land that we were looking at. At that time, I was actually several weeks ahead. I like to stay a little bit ahead. So at that time, it may look like, that we pretty much had just gotten into the project, but I was sort of revealing this out progressively. But since then, interesting turn of events. So we looked at this property online, did some market research, and the demand for this area looked really, really good in the 5 mile. So we went ahead and we followed that up with a feasibility study. We got a full feasibility study, and the numbers came back, and the numbers were basically saying, this is great. This is like an outstanding amount of demand in this area. It wasn't just lackluster. It was like, no, you need to build like right now. And there was a storage famine in this area. So we decided to go ahead and move forward with the project. We got a contract on that piece of land. We got the contract for 75 days, which, that's not quite enough when you're looking at doing development, especially if there's going to be a private money raise component to it, or even if you're going to go, a lender route. It's a pretty short time frame. So what we had to end up doing is to go back to that seller to ask for some type of seller finance component to go with that. Initially, he was okay with it. We were just ironing out some of the terms of the agreement, getting an addendum to the purchase agreement to get that seller finance in place. While we were doing that, we actually went through a few different design build companies to handle the project for us. We selected one, signed an engagement letter with them. They went ahead and were starting the building plans, the elevations, and we were getting close to closing on the land, had not closed on the land, and the seller was sort of, dragging his feet on the seller finance portion of it a little bit. And we had a meeting with our builder, and our builder had just called out something about this parcel. Previous, I guess there had been a previous contract on it, and a portion of this parcel, I guess they were saying was not buildable on like 4 acres of it, due to some underground piping or some water or something like that. So we had another meeting with the seller, and he was also a builder, and brought this up to him from the builder that we had engaged, and he wasn't too happy to hear about that. He got really livid. Like he was, and apparently there was some personal history there, because he referred to this other builder by name, and said, I can't believe so-and-so would say that. And just, man, he just got like angry. And me and my partner are sitting there kind of looking at each other like, what, Danny, no, like don't hurt me. But for whatever reason, we left on good terms after that meeting, but, something just rubbed him the wrong way about that. And, a few days later, we're getting close to close, and we're like, hey, if we get this seller finance addendum in place, we can close pretty quickly. The broker that was representing him got in touch with us and just like told us, yeah, he's not going to do it. Like, he's so basically you can, come up with the money in the next 4 days, or, that's it. So, he basically ran the clock out, and didn't do it. So, so we don't have a contract on that piece of land anymore. He wasn't interested in extending or doing anything else. Like he was just done. Asked the broker why, and he's like, oh, well, just sometimes stuff just like this just rubs him the wrong way, and he just gets, temperamental, and he just decided not to do it. So what we have right now is some nearly complete building plans and no piece of land to put the building on. So we're looking around, kind of scrambling to look at another piece. I believe I have another piece of land identified in that same, and it's a couple miles down the road, but it's in that same micro market, and I think that the numbers are the same. Like as far as the feasibility, it's not going to be a problem in terms of that. You don't want to move too far out of your study, and also you don't want the address to go too far, because especially with the private money raise, that you've zeroed in on that address of that parcel for that. So. So that happened. Another interesting part is that when we first came into this market, there was about a mile down the road from the first location, there was this coming soon sign for self-storage. Another competitor, one of our partners had contacted that person, and they had talked about it. And it seems like that sign had been there forever. They hadn't really done anything, so we figured, oh, well, this is just kind of a mom and pop bluff, hey, you stay out of my territory kind of thing. But what I noticed is that recently, this is after we'd lost the contract and I'm looking for another piece of land, I went down to that location just to see what was going on, and they've started moving dirt. So yeah, so they're building, it looks like. And so I think the market is still pretty strong, and then I've got to really do a double check with our feasibility study and talk with that guy again and see what we want to do. So, with those two things combined, we don't have a piece of land right at this very moment, and our competitor is building. So, what's going to happen is we either are going to find another piece of land and go forward with it and we have a deal, or...
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Sometimes that's just the way it goes. And so I'm not actually sure at this point whether it's going to go through. But so definitely learned some things out of this. We're going to keep plugging forward and seeing if we can make the deal work. And 75 days is too short for a contract. That's one, especially if it's there's a build construction component. There's going to be a private capital raise. A lot of the third party stuff is going on. 75 days is just too short. I would say it needs to be at least 120. But there's that. Also, I learned that seems like some builders tend to hate each other, and it seems like one builder, looks at another builder and thinks that builder's an idiot and doesn't know how to do anything. That's what the guy told us. He's like, you know what, those guys are idiots. He's like, I wouldn't use them. And I'm like, oh, okay. I think they've built a little bit more than you have, but whatever. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. But so there's that. You really got to move fast. You've got to move fast on this stuff, because you never know when something's going to change the whole dynamic. Somebody's going to come in and boom, they're building. So anyway, but I think the cool thing is that the new site we're looking at, it actually looks better. And so if it's a couple of miles down the road, I think it's in a better location, given some new developments, housing developments that are going up in the other area. And if we had gotten a contract on our original piece of land, the competitor that's building would have been literally right next door, like less than a mile, right next door. So I don't know, this may be a good thing in retrospect, but that's kind of where it is right now. We're going to keep looking and try to get a better deal overall, see how it goes. So that's the update. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. Love to hear them. Like I said, I'm going through this for the first time myself, and the whole goal with this is not to make myself, oh, look how amazing you are, how good of an investor you are, because I'm a newbie, and that's cool. I'm going to make mistakes. You're going to see all the mistakes here. So maybe there's something that if you ever get into this, you can see, oh, hey, dummy, you should have done X, Y, Z. And then, maybe you can learn from it and not have to go through the same thing I did. So anyway, hope that was informative, and I'll keep you updated to what happened. So you guys have a good one.